G20 Namaste from Srinagar. Jammu and Kashmir capital shines on global stage. Even superstars are shining there. Biggest message after end of Article 370. Nobody is missing China and Turkey here. India's enemies are simmering today. Srinagar shining in G20 super glow.
It is a grand G20 Namaste from Srinagar. First time since the abrogation of Article 370, Srinagar is shining on the world stage. Srinagar, of course, is dancing to Ramcharan's Natu 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 and not to the Band and Hartal calls from across the line of control. The valley, once seen as a hotbed of radical Islamist terror, is now the new diplomatic hub. It's Srinagar and India shining. India Today's Foreign Affairs editor Geeta Mohan and our Kashmir Bureau Chief Ashraf Wani, who bring you our top story from Srinagar.
Magnificent Kashmiri folk dance. Drums and music ringing in the valley. And superstar power on full display. Delegates coming into Srinagar for the G20 tourism meet were welcomed with saffron turbans, radiating India's soft power on global stage. G20 comes to the heaven on earth, the first grand international event in Naya Kashmir since the abrogation of Article 370. Parts of Kashmir, once a terror hotbed, turning into diplomacy hub.
G20 के जितने भी डेलीगेट्स हैं उनके स्वागत के लिए सुरक्षा के भारी भरकम इंतजाम आप यहां पर देख सकते हैं। सारी जो डेलीगेट कंट्रीज हैं उन सब के सदस्य इस समय यहां पर पहुंचना शुरू हो गए हैं और एक एक करके अलग अलग तरह की बैठकें जो कि पर्यटन के लिहाज से बहुत अहम रहेंगी, न केवल G20 के सदस्य देशों के लिए बल्कि कश्मीर के लिए अपनी एक अलग तस्वीर पूरी दुनिया के सामने पेश करने के लिहाज से।
Srinagar city has been spruced up for the 3-day mega G20 working group meet, putting the best face forward of its improving fortunes, breaking free from decades of terror and tumult.
कश्मीर को विश्व का स्वर्ग कहा जाता है और है भी। कुछ लोगों ने मिलिटेंसी के कारण से या इस प्रकार के हालात यहाँ पर बनाए कि कश्मीर से धीरे धीरे जो टूरिज्म था वो सारा डाइवर्ट हो गया। धारा 370 तोड़ने के बाद परिस्थितियां बदली हैं और एक डेवलपमेंट का दौर चला है। लोगों का माइंडसेट काफी चेंज हुआ।
Beautiful facelift has been given to parts of Srinagar city and roads leading to Sher-e-Kashmir International Convention Center, the venue for the G20 meeting.
अगर किसी आयोजन के समय हम ये सामान्य यहाँ की व्यवस्था देख रहे हैं, यहाँ पर लाल चौक पे भले ही आप कंस्ट्रक्शन इस समय देख रहे हो जो कि ब्यूटिफिकेशन के ड्राइव का हिस्सा बताया जा रहा है, लेकिन ये भी एक सामान्य होती जिंदगी की तरफ बढ़ता हुआ कदम है। यहाँ सुरक्षा कर्मियों की नाम मात्र तैनाती इस बात का संकेत है कि जम्मू कश्मीर बदल चुका है, चाहे पाकिस्तान चीन अपनी तरफ से जिस एजेंडा को आगे बढ़ाना चाहे।
Locals in the valley are elated with the big tourism boost the event will bring along.
I believe कि हम आर्टिस्ट के लिए एक गेटवे खुलेगा और अपॉर्चुनिटीज खुलेंगी, मिलेंगी।
As Kashmir turns a new leaf, usual suspects Pakistan and China are sulking. Beijing skipped the Srinagar meet, calling Kashmir a disputed territory. Saudi Arabia did not register for the Kashmir event. Egypt and Turkey too are not attending.
However, However, we are given to understand that Turkey and Saudi Arabia, their industry representatives will turn up over here in Srinagar for the meeting. So, industry representatives, but no official representation from these four nations. This is to do with the problem of Kashmir, the dispute of Kashmir.
Srinagar is under massive security blanket to ensure that the high-profile event passes off peacefully. On Monday, actor Ram Charan enthralled the delegates with an impromptu performance on the Oscar-winning smash hit Natu Natu.
This place has something magical. It draws people. It draws the attention of people. And no matter what we hear about Kashmir or whatever, this is such a surreal feeling when you come to Kashmir. It's been 95 years Indian film industry has begun. It will take another 95 years to explore Kashmir, let me tell you.
A magical place indeed. That is the world now will get to see. With Geeta Mohan, Shweta Singh and Ashraf Wani in Srinagar, Bureau Report, India Today.
So are Bandh calls and Hartal calls ordered by Pakistan ISI handlers a relic of a bygone era in Naya Kashmir? Or is there merit in the PDP chief and former chief minister of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir, Mehbooba Mufti, saying Kashmir has been converted into a Guantanamo Bay for the G20 tourism meet? Or is this a significant new dawn for Kashmir? Or tamasha, as Umar Abdullah, another former chief minister of the erstwhile state of J&K, puts it? Joining me on this News Track special, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, Member of Parliament, Rajya Sabha and leader of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Ambassador Meera Shankar is former Indian ambassador to the United States. We have a number of other guests also joining us from Jammu and Kashmir. But I want to begin by asking you, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, Mehbooba Mufti has compared security in Kashmir for G20 to Guantanamo Bay. What message is the government sending out to the world when voices within the country actually end up staying, and voices like a former chief minister of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir saying Kashmir is like Guantanamo Bay today?
Actually, if you look, Mehbooba Mufti uses to give this type of statement after they have seen that there seems to be no reversal of fortune for them in the coming years, particularly after Article 370 has been abrogated. But I want to say one thing, that look at today's Kashmir. There used to be a time that for 10 years, not even the governor of Jammu Kashmir was having the capability to hoist the national flag on Lal Chowk even on 26th January or 15th of August. I am talking about 1988 to 98. BJP's commitment was that, if you remember, in 1992, our then party president, Dr. Murli Manohar Joshi, has taken up the yatra to hoist the flag, and present Prime Minister, as a youth leader, was a convener of that. And from there, the flags of 20 countries hoisting in Kashmir, and that too, when India is chairing that G20 summit. Don't you think that such a huge change, transformation has taken place? And Mehbooba Mufti is the same person who uses to say, अगर 370 हटी तो तिरंगे को कंधे देने वाला कोई नहीं मिलेगा. And you have seen on 26th of January this year, there was an array of tricolors on Dal Lake. और आज तो तिरंगा छोड़िए 20-20 झंडे तिरंगे के साथ दिखाई पड़ रहे हैं. फिर भी, if somebody doesn't want to see, I think they have to come out from their blinkers. Then they will be able to see. A lot of water has flown in Jhelum in the last 4 or 5 years. Okay. But somehow, Mehbooba Mufti and Umar Abdullah type of people who have got stuck back in the time of pre-2014, I think they are not being able to perceive what the reality is.
Okay, I'll take that to both the PDP and the National Conference on the broadcast. But Ambassador Meera Shankar, I want to bring you in quickly. What should India make of countries like China staying away, or countries like Turkey not being there officially, despite India's help during the earthquake?
Well, this is their choice. I mean, they've chosen to stay away. But as far as India is concerned, we have always believed that J&K is an integral part of India and that it should be treated as such. hosting this G20 meeting on tourism, working group meeting in J&K is very much part of this approach. Also, you know, if you look at the economy of J&K,
Yes.
it is an economy which depends heavily on tourism, which had been affected in recent years. It's been reviving. And this year, according to Mr. Shringla, the coordinator
Yes.
for G20, they are expecting about 20 million tourists to visit J&K. So this is something which will bring prosperity and will bring development to J&K, whose economy has been, you know, under stress because of the situation there, which prevented tourism from taking off.
200 million, absolutely. So let's take this point by point. I mean, 1.88 crore tourists this year, the highest ever. But Najmu Saqib, we can understand Pakistan being upset. We can understand China staying away. But why is Mehbooba Mufti so upset if more tourists come to J&K? Because government says 1.88 crore tourists visited J&K in 2022, the highest ever. How is this Guantanamo Bay, sir?
Well, look, Gaurav, we have nothing against promotion of Kashmir as a tourist destination. In fact, our party worked tirelessly for the promotion of tourism sector in Kashmir. I mean, it was Mufti Saab-led government, you know, who resuscitated that tourism sector in Kashmir post 1999 Kargil war. I mean, having said that, Gaurav, Kashmiris have been caged. Look, for this, I mean, it should have been a celebration in any part of the country, right? But we have been caged. Hundreds of youngsters have been picked up and lodged in jails, right? Our education system has been, shut down. And my students are suffering. I mean, there was those students who actually had to write exam. They couldn't reach the examination centers. Schools were shut down. Raids were ongoing for last 7 days. There have been continuous raids ongoing in Srinagar. We have only way saying is that for any event, why do you turn Kashmir into a cage? Our point is that if it is such a successful event, can Government of India put a date? When will all these countries remove the travel advisories they have for Kashmir? If the Government of India is so serious about promotion of Kashmir, why don't they work towards it? We have time and again written to Government of India that they should take it up with these countries to remove travel advisories. Why have they not
I'll get both Sudhanshu Trivedi and Ambassador Meera Shankar to respond. But please go first, sir. The Kashmir is like a cage, as Najmu Saqib puts it.
I think he has not heard my previous statement. He is talking about the security arrangement and others. I have told that even the governor was not having the capability to hoist the national flag. And I would also like to remind which type of change has come. You know, sir, when was the last one-day international match in Srinagar? Do you remember? You won't be remembering. It was in 1983 between India and West Indies after the World Cup. And you know what happened? It has to be abandoned in between because there were so many slogans, anti-India slogans and pro-Pakistani slogans, and the match was abandoned. You know which was the last Hindi movie which has been shooted in Jammu Kashmir, a usual movie. It was Bemisal of Amitabh Bachchan in 1982. And after that, only terrorism-related movies have got shooting in which the terrorist forces were thinking that in a way their view has also been incorporated. Sabi, itna bada change aa gaya. And still you say that from that time to this time, and movie theaters have stopped, industries have stopped. Now for the first time, the Middle East countries have sent their business delegation for investment and has already been told 1.88 crore tourists have come. The incidences of terrorism has come down sharply. The 2 IITs and IIMs have been established in Jammu. All these things is happening, but unfortunately those who want to take Kashmir as their personal fiefdom, they are seeing upset. I can say that Kashmir is entering into a new era of liberalization. But those forces who want to have the monopoly and fiefdom on the development of Kashmir and practically they denied an average Kashmiri for their legitimate due, they are making the hue and cry.
Basically, आप कह रहे हैं दुकानें बंद हो रही हैं इसीलिए कुछ लोग नाराज हैं. नजमू साकिब जी जवाब दीजिए. दुकानें बंद हो रही हैं, आतंक के नाम पर दुकान चला रहे थे लोग, वो दुकानें अब बंद हो रही हैं. Najmu Saqib.
Look, Gaurav, what are we even talking about? We have not been, I mean, it's been 30, it's our rail project to Kashmir was conceived in 80s and it's close to 4 decades now. We don't have a rail connection to Kashmir after 4 decades and 10 years of their government as well. So let's not,
गृह मंत्री कौन था देश का? गृह मंत्री उस समय कौन था देश का? ये तो आप खुद ही बताइए. महबूबा मुफ्ती के पिताजी ही थे.
You gave Sudhanshu ji a free field. I expect the same courtesy.
Facts. Absolutely. I want an argument for pure facts.
If you have a question on that, then we can take the argument further. So my point is simple. My point is that our question from them is, when will these countries remove the travel advisories from Kashmir? That's
fair
number
enough.
1.
You've made that point. Sir, you're repeating your point. Since you made that point, I will get Ambassador Meera Shankar. Let me get Ambassador Meera Shankar to respond to the travel advisory point. Sir, because time comes, so repetition we will avoid. We will avoid repetition. Ambassador Meera Shankar.
A meeting like this, which brings representatives of about 60 countries to J&K, will help countries to reassess their position regarding travel advisories. Because if you go there and you see things for yourself, you're able to better assess the ground situation and to see whether you are in a position to remove the travel advisories. And of course, I would agree that the government needs to work harder to get countries, to persuade countries to remove these travel advisories. Of course, that will be based very much on the situation on the ground, and that various representatives of different countries will be able to see for themselves during this meeting.
But sometimes, ma'am, Ambassador Meera Shankar, before I bring in Imran Nabi Dar also into this conversation, are some of these travel advisories and a political point that is being made, like certain countries staying away? They may dislike the country, they may dislike the leadership of that country, so they will come up with a travel advisory irrespective of facts on ground. Is that also the case in international diplomacy?
Well, some countries take a view, political view on Jammu and Kashmir, and therefore, treat it as a dispute. But that's not the Indian position. And we do believe that it is time that countries also moved on, because there is, an international boundary, there's a line of control which has been jointly mapped and signed by both India and Pakistan. And I think that it's in the interest of both countries and other countries as well that we move on. For Pakistan, this has, this kind of policy of strategic overreach, as I call it, has led to a very grave situation where their economy is in dire straits and in a crisis, and where there is so much political volatility. I think that if they want to come to grips with their internal issues, they do need to move on issues.
But Pakistan is quite like a drug addict. It is a terror addict. It may or may not be able to move on, despite suffering this cancer of terror. But my bigger point, and that's why we don't have a Pakistani on the guest. We don't have a Pakistani on the show because Kashmir is our internal issue. G20 is our internal issue. We have both the PDP and the NC. No, I want you to make that point, but I want to bring in Imran Nabi Dar also into this conversation. If tourists are visiting Kashmir, if roads are being built, if infrastructure development is taking place, if foreign investment is being sought, how is this tamasha, Imran Nabi Dar?
About the numbers that you just read about the tourism influx, 1.20 crore, I think you are missing the point. It is just 20 lakh normal tourists who are
it was 1.88 crore, 1.88 crore, that's the government of India figure.
That includes religious pilgrims to Mata Vaishno Devi and to Amarnath. So I don't think they can be referred to as tourists, because
why not?
They are not tourists. They come from pilgrimage. They don't.
You've never heard of religious tourism clearly.
But you cannot, you need to make a difference. Let us make a difference. Let us break the numbers. These are not the numbers that actual numbers on ground. The actual numbers is somewhere around 20. So forget about the numbers right now. As far as this about what Sudhanshu Trivedi साहब said कि इतनी development हो रही है, बहुत हो रहा है, एक real new dawn has awakened in Jammu and Kashmir. If Kashmir is normal for G20, why isn't it normal for holding assembly elections in Jammu Kashmir? I fail to understand this. Another point, now that this travel advisories thing has been taken up by one of the panelists, simple question: why couldn't Kashmir deserve a ministerial level meeting, tourism ministerial level meeting? As far as my information is concerned, there are delegates, there are middle rank officers, and in some cases embassy officials are visiting Kashmir.
So there are ambassadors and high commissioners also.
But there are the number of you need to look at the numbers, Gaurav. I mean, let us talk about numbers. Let us talk about facts. The facts are clear. I mean, even External Affairs Minister has not come. There has to be why couldn't we have a ministerial level meeting, tourism ministerial level meeting?
So first,
Kashmir?
Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi.
I mean, they would have discussed all the pros and cons.
Okay, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, you want to respond to both the points raised by Imran Abidar?
Number one, I am unable to understand what Mr. Dar is trying to say. That in India, the tourism and religious tourism. In Hindi, you can understand Paryatan or Tirthatan. Both are of equal importance. I would like to ask, if any Muslim from anywhere in the country uses to visit Hazrat Bal, do you not consider that he will come and contribute to the economy of Jammu Kashmir?
Sir, let us not make it Hindu-Muslim, please. Let us talk about facts.
It has
let us not make it Hindu-Muslim. Let us...
Sir, that's why I'm talking about fact. And now I want to give you. There uses to be a time.
No, let us not take...
Sir, I have not disturbed you. Please let me
complete my Imran, whether it's Hindu-Muslim, अगर मुसलमान जा रहे हैं पर्यटन के लिए, वो भी पर्यटन है, हिंदू जा रहे हैं, वो भी पर्यटन है, दोनों में फर्क क्या है? But Imran, just let Dr. Trivedi complete his point. Go on, sir.
Let me. I just want to remind there uses to be a time when Hazrat Bal was captured by terrorists.
Yes.
Now this government is allocated 42 crore rupees for improvement the facilities in the Hazrat Bal shrine. So this is, for what purpose it is being done? For enhance the tourism. So we have done in Amarnath. So we are doing this. We want to make Jammu Kashmir a case for what? A natural beauty is there, the religious attraction is also there, and the tourist attraction is also there, along with the developmental work which is being undertaken. But as far as those who want to take the thing out of India's ambit, one thing I would like to remind, there uses to be an era when on the issue of Kashmir, only one country uses to be on our side, that was USSR, and almost rest of the world uses to be on the side of Pakistan. Now today the change in era is just one country, China, uses to be against us, that is on the side of Pakistan, and almost rest of the world uses to be on our side, and G20 is nothing but a symbol of that. And when they will personally see on the ground, I think this will also bring a change in their perception of.
Give me a moment, Mr. Dar. Let me also, the point that you raised, why isn't it a ministerial level? Why isn't it?
My question remains
absolutely. Ambassador Meera Shankar, would you want to take that?
On that,
should it have been?
Yes. I will also answer that. Can I say one sentence?
Okay, quickly, Dr. Trivedi. Yeah.
Can I say one sentence? But just one line. Mr. Dar's statement, I think it is a compliment for us. It means he is accepting that the situation has raised to that level of normalcy in his own eyes that he can think of having a ministerial meeting. I think this is an achievement from the culmination of so-called Bharat Jodo Yatra of Rahul Gandhi to there in G20. There is a huge change in the law and order situation. And I compliment that you have done. In the near future, that will also happen.
Okay. Ambassador Meera Shankar, would you want to respond to Mr. Dar saying why isn't this a ministerial? Why is it only restricted either to senior officials or high commissioners?
It's a working group meeting, so representation won't be at ministerial level. It will be at official level. But I think what's important is that we should listen to the voices from Kashmir as well.
Oh, absolutely.
And strive for political consensus and political acceptability within J&K as well, apart from what we are already doing, which is this tourism conference. I think there is a way to go before we are able to say that there is, political harmony in J&K. And certainly it's useful and worthwhile for the government to look at, when they might be in a position to hold elections there.
Okay.
Which they themselves have said, the Home Minister himself has said, when the situation has improved and it is conducive, we will hold elections.
But Ambassador Meera Shankar, Sudhanshu Trivedi, Najmul Saqib and Imran Nabi Dar, as always, many thanks for joining me here on this India Today special.
We broke CM Sita 48 hours before Raw. We broke Deputy CM DK 12 hours before Raw.
Your exit poll was the exact poll.
We broke Karnataka formula 72 hours before Raw.
We have that answer for you now on India Today. Siddaramaiah will be the next Chief Minister of Karnataka.
India's #1 political team is unrivaled. Every news break, first on your channel.